welcome to another edition of Did You Know Doctor Who, what you may not know about Doctor Who. This time we're going to look at the Terror of the Zygons. I hope you enjoy. Terror of the Zygons was originally intended as the finale for Season 12, ending the TARDIS's cruise, continuous adventures and delivering Harry and Sullivan back to Earth. Instead, due to scheduling concerns, the serial was held back as the first story of Season 13. Due to budgetary constraints, location filming in Scotland was not possible and outdoor scenes for Terror of the Zygons were all shot in West Sussex. This is the last regular appearance of the Brigadier until 8 years later in the Mordred Undead. Working titles included Loch Ness, The Secret of the Loch, Secret of Loch Ness, The Loch Ness Monster, and simply The Zygons. The departure of Harry while Sarah remains with the Doctor marks one of the 2 times in the televised classic series that a companion who had already been with the Doctor before another one joins remains with him after the second companion leaves. Jamie arrived before Victoria and remained after her departure. The 2 other arguable examples would be Katrina and Sarah Kingdom, who weren't with the Doctor for very long and ended up dying. Generally, the Doctor's roster of companions revolved fairly consistently. In Part 4, the Brigadier speaks to an unnamed female Prime Minister on the telephone. Margaret Thatcher had become leader of the Conservative Party in February 1975, 7 months before broadcast. On the DVD release of this story, it featured a deleted scene set at the start of the story featuring the TARDIS materialising invisibly due to a faulty fusion plate. It was a mixture of colour and black and white, but the monochrome sections were coloured manually by YouTuber Stuart Humphreys, aka Babel Colour, who worked on the Mind of Evil and Genesis of Daleks DVDs. The original unrestored colour and black and white version is still included on the DVD as an Easter egg. Nicholas Courtney claimed to have been very unhappy making the story as he thought this would be the last time he'd be playing the Brigadier. He felt sad and the character faded away in such a manner. Ian Marter found John Woodnut funny in rehearsals, so location filming saw him giggling when he was supposed to be scared. This is the first televised story since The Diamonds to be penned by someone who had never written for a series before. Robert Banks Stewart wasn't interested in writing outer space stories, so he set the story in his native Scotland. The original cliffhanger for episode 2 involved the Scarson attacking the Doctor as he rode up in its waters, rather than traversing Tulloch Moor. Douglas Camfield had taken a 5-year sabbatical from the series, having suffered a heart attack during the production of Inferno. He was lured back by the premise of this particular story. The original script had placed far greater emphasis on the Scarson and the Loch. Robert Holmes felt that the Zygons were more interesting characters, especially since they could interact with the main cast. And that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed. Terror of the Zygons, in my opinion, is a very, 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 very good Zygon story. It's one of 3 stories, technically, of the Zygons, which is interesting because the Zygons are the type of monster that have appeared so much in merchandise, in museums and all that, in Doctor Who lore overall, and yet they barely make any impact in terms of televised stories. In my opinion, this is probably the best of the Zygon stories because the other ones, I don't know, the other ones didn't really feel as good. Like, they tried doing something with them in what was it, the Invasion of the Zygons, I think that's what it's called, or Inversion of the Zygons. Trying to give it a sort of a political thriller in a way, but I just don't think that worked out very well. It's not a very good story. As for the 50th anniversary, bringing the Zygons back for that particular story was certainly an interesting choice, having them be the main monster, aside from the Daleks. And yeah, I mean, they're there. It's a shame because the Zygons could be utilised so much more. Like, imagine some sort of like spy espionage sort of idea where Zygon is disguised as a human and, it's whodunit sort of idea. Murder mystery, perhaps, You could do so much more with this sort of alien that can, turn itself into human, disguise itself in such a way. The camouflage technique, there's so many ideas there, and it's a shame that they don't really utilise this, really good potential of ideas. Terror of the Zygons, I think, is a very fun piece. The Loch Ness Monster is definitely outdated by this point, but I mean, I admire it. I admire some of the animatronics they used, and well, it looks more like a hand puppet, to be fair. I like them made it all slimy. That was quite a good touch. The Doctor's outfit, the Scottish outfit, that's quite a unique and quite an infamous look for Tom Baker's Doctor. As for Harry Sullivan leaving, I must admit I never really cared that much for Harry Sullivan. He's one of those weaker companions, one of the ones that you don't really remember or care about. But overall, Terror of the Zygons, I think, does a very good job, and I do totally recommend it. It doesn't go on for too long, it doesn't feel too short. I think the Zygons are a very interesting enemy to have in Doctor Who. It's a shame they don't reutilize them so much more. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Did You Know Doctor Who, and I'll see you next time.